Okay, we're back. So moving on to the foot now, and as you can see, I've gone ahead and drawn out a foot here, and this is just to speed up the initial phase that we're going to go through. So this is a foot, and what I've done underneath that foot is drawing the skeleton. So I'm going to lighten the foot up a bit so that you can see what I've done with the skeleton. And we'll take a nice bright color and I'll start going through it. So you can see first off we have, these are the leg bones here. Okay. Now, like the fingers, like the hand, the big toe is equivalent to the thumb, and all the other toes are equivalent to the fingers. So like the hand, the big toe has 2 bones, or 3 bones rather, not 4. So just like if we go back over here to the hand, you can see here and this one has 3 or 4 if you're taking the whole hand into account. So the smaller toes have the same amount of bones, and this is where it's really similar to the hand. Now obviously a foot and a hand look very different once you've drawn them out, but the underlying structure is quite similar. Now from here, as it goes up here, we have a big mass of bones, okay, essentially. So if you think of this like a square shape, like that, and it's separated into 4 bones that go across here, but that's not too important to us, okay? If you ever need to draw an anatomically correct skeleton, say if you're drawing, you know, a field of bones or something, you know, just, you can always Google it, you know, it's heaps of reference images on Google, but I do recommend that you have some kind of anatomy book for yourself to reference. Always have that on hand. Now behind this bone we have the heel, which comes out like this. Okay, so essentially let's let's go over here, and we'll drag both of these guys over to the side like that. So this is essentially our foot. Now from the side, what we have, just going to draw a foot side on. It's a nice rough one. And let's make this guy a bit bigger so that we can draw our details in there. Okay, so let's chuck him down with this guy. Go up to this. Actually, we're probably better off, I'll just merge these down and we'll just make a new layer. Alright, let's go in here, grab our red, and we'll mark this out. So we have our leg bone, So what we're going to have here is we're going to have our, this leg bone's probably going to go down a bit more like that. Our heel bone come out like this. This is essentially what the shape that we're getting, okay? And of course we'd have a little break in here. So this part here is where the ball of the foot is. And this is where we'll go knuckle. And we'll spell it right, hey? Alright. So, knuckle, ball of the foot. Okay? And it's also important to remember that the ankle from the ankle the heel sticks out. Okay, so let's go ankle, heel. So what we have here is we have the ankle here and the heel here. So what we don't want to get in the habit of doing is drawing our foot like this. With the back bit nice and straight. Because of this, let's get a new layer and we'll get a new color. Essentially what we're getting is this shape here like this, because what's happening is we have the Achilles tendon coming up here, okay, into our calf muscle. Alright, so if we take this guy now and we'll move him over here, that foot's a little bit horrible. I couldn't really see what I'm doing, but you get the general idea. So keep in mind that there is this shape in the skeleton, okay? So you will get this shape at the back of the heel there, okay? Alright, moving on now. If we were to draw the foot from the other side, and I can do that really simply by just copying this foot here. And I'll just go back to my pencil tool. So what we're going to get now we're going to have the other toes like this. And this is just rough, so you can see. And the reason we do this is the reason we get this this here cascading toes is because the shape of the bottom of the foot you might think that what we do is we just chuck the toes on here like this. Boom, toes. This is incorrect. What we have is the small toe, and we have a shape like this. This is the kind of footprint that we get left with. And underneath here we have, similar to our thumb pad, like so. And I'm not sure that I even exaggerated that enough. So this is what we're looking at for the bottom of the foot. This angle here with the toes is necessary in order to do a realistic foot. If you do it flat across like that, it's going to look weird, and that might be what you're going for, but it's not anatomically correct. So now we know the basic structure of the foot. How do we draw the foot? Well, to start off with, pretty simple. What I do is I just do a wedge or triangle shape. So if I have a leg here, get to the bottom, pretty simple, okay? If I'm drawing the foot from the front view, just like this, okay? And then from there I will go in and flesh it out. So to do that, let's come in here. Something else to keep in mind also, well actually I'll draw it first and then we'll go through, we'll talk about it. And let's just temporarily take the opacity down there. Something to keep in mind when you're drawing your foot is that the angle of the ankles is important. The inside ankle is higher than the outside ankle. higher and lower. Okay, and that's always the case. So if I was to draw a foot on an angle now, maybe I'll draw a wedge shape this time instead. And you could draw a box even if you really wanted to. Anything like this will work. Okay. What I generally do is I will go, got my leg here, chuck in my very loose triangle like that, grab my eraser, and then what I'll come in is I'll start chucking in the contours. And now remember, because we have this shape here, and when we're on the ground, the footprint that we're getting is like this. So we have this space in here that's not contacting the ground. So it's important to remember that's this space here. Okay, so I have to draw that in, I have to indicate that in some manner. That is the process that I would use to draw the foot. Okay, it's pretty simple. You know, if worse comes to worse, you're having trouble with an angle, you know, go back to your boxes. Okay, this is an angle here that could cause you some grief. So all you have to do is go, okay, let's make a box first. And then from there, go in and add in your actual foot. Okay. Alright, so I think that basically touches on all the points. So important aspects is the height of the ankles are not level. Make sure you get the slant of the toes, and make sure you don't draw the heel flat against the back of the leg like that. You've got to have this curve in there. Okay, so I think that finishes up the foot, and then we'll move on now.